Imagine having a name like Steven Spielberg. I just feel like that's such a cool name. I feel like he was just meant to create sci-fi, just amazing sci-fi movies. Okay, hi, I'm back. Yeah, I haven't posted on this channel in a while. It's been like a month. There isn't many of you here, so probably none of you gave a shit. But I'm back, and today we're doing another review. We're back with a review. And today's review is a throwback review to the 2002 sci-fi movie Minority Report. So the premise of this film is Tom Cruise plays a detective in the year 2054. He plays a detective by the name of John Anderton, who works in the pre-crime division. Now, how the pre-crime division works is they have these three siblings called the precogs, and they have abilities to see the future, specifically to see future murders. So they see them, and then they report that the murder is going to happen this way, that way. And so what Tom Cruise does and his unit do, their job is to go there and stop the murder before it even happens. What I love about this whole aspect is that at first I was like, okay, so this happens, but they prevent the future. So technically the person never committed a crime. There's an opening sequence where a man finds his wife cheating on him and goes to murder her, but he doesn't actually do it. He sits there, he stands over her with the scissors, not actually done anything, and they stop him. So there's kind of a conversation that, well, he never did it, but you're still gonna put him in jail. Is that fair or not? And this is where the character of Danny Whitworth, played by Colin Farrell, comes in. Now he works for the government, and his job is to go there and inspect them, and inspect the pre-crime unit and find a flaw in them. Because the thing is that these precogs have been 100% right so far, that this pre-crime unit has been intact. So there are no problems in it. But if a small problem occurs where they are wrong at one point, if they say a crime is going to happen, and that crime never happens, then that pre-crime unit is going to be shut down. So Danny Whitworth's decision is to go there and try to find a flaw. And I love the conversation that they have where where Tom Cruise throws a ball and starts rolling off the desk, and Colin Farrell catches it before it falls. And he tells him, "Why'd you catch that?" And he was like, "Because it was going to fall." And he tells him, "What, you knew it was going to fall?" He was like, "Yeah, but I stopped it." He was like, "Okay, but because you stopped it, that doesn't stop the fact that it was going to fall." And I love that philosophical conversation that they have, because this movie really deals with choice. Because if a person thinks he's going to do something, is there a way for him to not do it, to change his future? Because really, again, they catch people who didn't really do anything, but because these precogs say they're going to do something in the future, is that fair on the person, or are you just ruining their future? Is there an alternate reality where, let's say, that guy was at the last moment going to be like, "Nope, I'm not going to kill my wife"? Is there that? We don't know, because they stopped him already and they put him in jail. So I love that. So now a problem occurs, is that the precogs say that Tom Cruise is going to commit a murder. He's going to kill a man that he doesn't even know. So now he's on the run from his own unit, trying to see if he can change his fate, trying to see if the precogs saw something wrong, trying to just piece together what went wrong. And along his journey, he finds out that there are minority reports. Now, what minority reports is that there are three siblings. Like I said, there are three precogs, and basically all three of them have to agree on that this future is going to happen. Let's say that they think that a murder is going to happen. All three of them have to agree that a murder will happen. Because sometimes it could be one of them sees the murder, but the other one sees that that person doesn't do the murder, and that's a minority report. But basically, because like I said, there can't be any doubt in these precogs, it seems like the unit has been tampering with their minds and kind of deleting those minority reports. So every single time it looks like that person's only going to commit the murder, and that there is no alternate future for him. So now Tom is desperate to find out if he has a minority report, and this is where he has to go back and get one of the main three siblings by the name of Agatha. I feel like nowadays we see these CGI sets, like, MCU movies, Avengers films. We see them and we think that's pretty cool, but we don't really appreciate it as much because we've seen so much of it. But this movie, I feel like, is so much ahead of its time. This movie was first to use digital production design, which means like they build these virtual 3D sets and then they started to block out. They knew how to block out shots and where everything goes for later in the computer aspect of it when they start building the CG on top. So they knew how it was all going to shape out. There's a highway sequence. There's a small highway sequence where Tom is in this futuristic car. By the way, just go on the futuristic car. I love how in the early 2000s, everybody thought that the futuristic cars would look this way. If you've ever seen the movie I, Robot with Will Smith, he kind of has the car of the same round design of it. So it's kind of funny to me to look at it now and being like, oh, well, that's how they thought cars would look like in the future. And going back to iRobot, now that I think about it, there's actually a lot of similarities between that movie and Minority Report, which Minority Report actually came out 2 years before iRobot, so maybe it was inspired by Minority Report. Don't know. For me, because this movie was made in 2002, I feel like they really wanted to show you what they were doing and how it all worked. So there was a lot of close-up shots on this technology for you to see how it works. I love the hologram thing where like Tom Cruise is working with like trying to find out where the crime is, and he's kind of like flaring his hands and stuff. And I noticed that the gloves that he's wearing have like projectors on them, so that's where things are appearing on screen through the projectors. I think those are projectors. Notice lights on his hand. And what's funny to me is that I've heard that Tom Cruise almost played Iron Man back in 2007. They wanted Tom Cruise before Robert Downey Jr. I think something like that happened. So it kind of makes me think that Jon Favreau look at Minority Report and see how Tom Cruise was working with the digital aspects of it all, of things not being there, and the holograms working with it like that, like how Iron Man does, and was like, maybe this guy could do it. On the production level, what I also love is the way they shot this film. There are a lot of long takes. There will be people walking and the camera will follow them down the hallway smoothly. I also love how when a character talks, there's not a lot of shots of it just standing on the character watching them. The camera's always moving very smoothly around them. Sometimes we would have a conversation and then the camera would like pan out, zoom out for you to see the entire set and to see the whole environment. I thought that was really cool. There's a great futuristic sequence where Tom's character has to change his eyes because this is the future, and like everywhere you go it scans your eyes, and that's how they ID you everywhere. The subway, the mall. I love this sequence in the mall when he's walking and there's cameras at every store and they scan you. Let's say he's at Gap and the Gap store is like, oh hey, you're back, you know, you look good in those jeans that one time you bought, maybe you want some more. Like they start talking to you. And I find that I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a cool design of the future. So now Tom has to change his eyes to look different because, again, eye scanners are everywhere. And I love that. So now Tom's character changes his eyes, goes back to the pre-crime division, gets Agatha, and it leads to a pretty cool sequence in a mall where she starts predicting the future, and she's like, oh, stand right here. The balloon man is going to stand right in front of us. Like she starts describing all these things. Grab an umbrella because it's going to be raining outside. Like, she knows how these things are going to happen, but she tells him, like, grab an umbrella. And we're like, all right, how's this going to play in? And then later it plays in, and it's a cool way to seeing her abilities, how it works. It leads to a pretty fun sequence of them trying to get away from these people that are after them. What I love about this movie, and just movies that have to do with futures, where a character sees his future and he's like, I gotta change that somehow, is the whole aspect of the journey. Like they're like, okay, I saw this future, how it's gonna happen, I'm gonna try to change it. But realistically, you don't know if you're changing it. You could be doing something that you think is changing it, but still leading you on that path. And I liked seeing how he was trying, but then at some point he realized when he got to the place where he saw himself commit a murder earlier, he was like, ah, crap, I'm here. Might as well go figure out what I'm doing here. Like, I have to. He was like, I'm gonna go there, but I'm not gonna kill the man. But then again, there's aspects to it, and it leads to him. There's a very important character moment for him where early in the movie we find out that he has lost his son. His son has been kidnapped or killed. He doesn't know where his son is. His son has been missing for about 6 years. His marriage fell apart. He's divorced with his wife. So now he goes to this apartment to meet this guy he doesn't know by the name of Leo Crow? Or Lee Crow? I forgot. Something Crow. So he meets this guy, and it turns out that this guy is potentially a pedophile who killed his son. Like, he has pictures of like children on the bed and stuff, and he's like, oh crap, there's a picture of my son here, that means he killed him. But what turns out is that this Crow guy has actually been hired by somebody to pretend like he killed Tom's character's son. So Tom would kill him. But the thing is that he didn't. He tells him, John decides that he's not going to kill him, which leads to him saying, bro, you have to kill me. That was the whole deal. And he says, whole deal? What are you talking about? And it turns out that he was hired, and they told him that they're going to take care of this guy's family or whatever if he dies, because the mission would be complete, whatever his mission was. His mission was to die by the hands of John, so John would get set up. What happens is that even though Tom's character didn't want to kill this Crow guy, Crow ends up shooting himself with Tom's gun. They say the exact same lines that were said in this prevision that he saw, and he dies, and that future still comes true. That means precogs were not wrong. Remember, precogs don't know why they did it. They just know that it's going to happen, so it did happen. So the precogs are not wrong. But now Tom has to deal with this whole aspect of, wait, I've been set up. Why have I been set up? What's happening here? And this is where his boss, played by Max von Sydow, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I know the actor passed away recently, so may he rest in peace. But he played the main bad guy in this movie who set up Tom. He also played his boss. So one of the big plot points that I forgot to mention somehow is that Lamar is actually a murderer. He killed Agatha's mom. Now how that has happened is because Lamar hires people to go and almost commit a murder. Now it's almost because the precogs see it, they report it, then the unit goes to the crime scene and arrests that person. But then Lamar shows up at that crime scene and still commits the murder in the exact same way that division happened. But then the precogs are like, oh hey, look, murder, but it would look exactly the same as the one that was already stopped. Since the technician would be like, oh no, it's just echoes, it's just something that they see on repeat, it's okay, no problem, it's already stopped. But the problem is that, it's a different murder that has basically been done in the exact same one as the one that was stopped, with a little bit of small details changed here and there. So Lamar is a murderer who killed Agatha's mom. So that was a pretty big plot point that I kind of forgot to mention somehow. My bad. That leads to a whole other aspect of the movie where unfortunately Danny, played by Colin Farrell, realizes that Tom's character has been set up and that Lamar is the one who did it, and Lamar ends up killing Danny, which I gotta say, kind of saw it coming in the moment. I mean, he handed him the gun, but when he was breaking down to him, I was like, okay, yeah, clearly up this guy. So that plot twist was kind of obvious. One of my favorite sequences in this movie is when John and Agatha go to John's ex-wife's house to find a safe place, and Agatha sits down with both of them and kind of starts breaking down their now potentially deceased son's future. She's like, at 16 he does this, at 23 he does this, and then it kind of reverses to, but nope, he's 6 and he can't run away from this guy that's chasing him. I felt like that was such a great scene for them to just sit down for a moment and experience that, especially with a person who can tell the future. And it's a good closure for Tom's character and his wife's character pertaining to the storyline of their son being missing. So now at the ending of the movie, they all figure out that Lamar is the one in charge, and bald Tom Cruise shows up, and he's all like, listen, bro, I know you did it, stuff like that. But at the pre-crime division, they have received a new message that there is going to be a crime and that Tom's character is about to get shot by Lamar. And I love this whole sequence. I love the dilemma he puts him in. He tells him, if you don't kill me, that means the precogs were wrong. That means the government's going to take everything you have away. But if you're going to kill me, you're going to go to jail for murder. So you kind of see the dilemma here. And at the end, Lamar ends up killing himself. For what reason? There are reasons, I guess. But he just kind of ends up doing it because he just gives up, I guess. Which was interesting. Yeah, the ending kind of goes a little bit downhill in quality. Like, for example, Tom's wife goes from being at this press conference to going to jail, breaks out Tom, comes back to where the event is happening at the conference. It kind of all happens in a quick span of time. And so, Tom's name gets cleared, and now he's good to go. The pre-crime division has been shut down because it's immoral. All the inmates have been released, with police keeping a close eye on some of them because they could still be murderers that haven't did a murder yet, so that's interesting. And at the ending, what I didn't like was the whole scene with Tom and his wife and their marriage being repaired. I didn't feel like we needed that. I didn't feel like the movie was heading there. His ex-wife was not in the movie for a majority of it. She kind of just popped up here and there, and she was integral in the last part of the movie. But for a majority of the movie, she wasn't there, and the whole relationship wasn't really the center of it. So I felt like that whole scene of her being pregnant at the end and them living happily ever after was kind of shoehorned in. I would have been fine with them not being together, kind of be like, oh, thanks for helping me. We could stay good friends. Fortunately, no marriage there. Yeah, that was kind of weird. But at the end of the day, Minority Report, again, ahead of its time with the technology that they were using and how they formed this movie with the sci-fi elements of it. Again, Steven Spielberg, ahead of his time, doing the best that he can. Great visual movie. The story was great. I felt like the whole, the pre-crime and dilemmas of, are they going to commit a crime? Are they not going to commit the crime? And how not moral that is to put somebody in jail who didn't basically do anything. I like that aspect. I felt like at the end, the movie kind of trailed off a little in story quality and storytelling. I feel like the ending could have been a little bit better. So at the end of the day, I'm going to give Minority Report a B. I think this is a really successful sci-fi movie that definitely inspired a lot of sci-fi films since then. Like I already said, one example is I, Robot. You can definitely see a lot of visual inspiration, but also a little bit of storytelling inspiration between these two films. So that was my review for Minority Report. If you liked it, leave a like, check out some of my other reviews, and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate all of that. I'm going to try to do more of throwback movie reviews because there's a lot of classics that I haven't seen. And there's a lot of movies that I've seen in the past that I want to talk about. So, and if you have any in mind, leave it in the comments. Also, what is your favorite Steven Spielberg film? And yeah, leave a like, subscribe. I'd really appreciate all of that. And I'll see you guys later.